South Africa. Now, North America, where we live, it takes fourth place for having the most people, 6.9% of people, and it takes third place for being the biggest continent. It only has only by about 6% to Africa, which is 12.5 against 6.9. And North America is kind of shaped like a side-down triangle if you look at it this way. That's how I show you. The highest mountain, I don't really know, I forget what the biggest mountain is, but it's freezing below the mountain and freezing on top of it. Also, I bet there's snow-covered volcanoes, just like in the Andes, South America. And the Andes have really tall mountains. Some of them are volcanoes, so they're snow-covered volcanoes. It's pretty amazing. That is exactly like Alaska's mountain. The coldest continent in North America would be Greenland. It's way up in the far north. The second would be Canada, and the warmest would be Panama, and in Central America, it's at the bottom. It's a neighbor to Colombia in South America. North America is made up of Canada, United States, which we live in, Mexico, and Central America. Central America is right here, and the West Indies. It's all of these little countries. It's an island. It's an island. It's a it's a lot of islands. It's Hawaii, Hawaii and Alaska aren't necessarily attached to the United States, but they're owned to them. Alaska is right here, and that's where the biggest mountain is. And so, Alaska, U.S. Alaska, U.S. That means it's owned to the U.S., which is a short name for United States. Hawaii, which could also be called the Hawaiian Islands, part of it, is also owned to the U.S., which is short for United States, like I told you already, if you were listening. This thing also, and it's pretty, it's just like Asia, but it's not completely. Greenland is actually colder and more same with Canada, and more farther into the Arctic Circle, and Panama down here, it's also pretty close to the equator. The next country, if you're in Panama, if you drive through Colombia for like a few hours, you'll hit the equator soon. The equator goes all across the globe. See this yellow line? Every time when you look at a globe, look for the yellow line or any other colored line that goes all the way across the globe. Like that. The United States also owned a few islands like in Oceania, which we already talked about. There's a few. Oh yeah, American Sona, U.S. See? There's also some owned the USA in the West Indies. Let's see if I can find one. Puerto Rico, the U.S. That's where it's owned to. Puerto Rico once wanted to be a state, but then they had a big vote for all the country, and the governments decided that we don't really want to be a state that much anymore. We still want to be kind of our own little country, the West Indies. The Caribbean Sea would take second place for being the big sea. Oh, and the Gulf of Mexico, it's connected to the Caribbean Sea, which is so the West Indies are in two different types of water. The Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. The Gulf of Mexico would be way bigger than any other Gulf in all of the world. Because I'll show you how little real Gulfs are. This is how big the Gulf of Mexico is. This is how big a regular Gulf would be. It can't really fit what it's called because it's too thin and little on the globe. You could actually see it bigger if I show you in my atlas book. Let's see if I can find it. This might take a while. Nope, almost there. Okay, here it is. The Gulf of Obi. This is the Gulf of Obi. Remember how big it is. Now I will show you the Gulf of Mexico once I